The following podcast is a production of the Podpire Network. Find and listen to our podcasts at thepodpirenetwork.com or wherever you enjoy your podcast. The Podpire Network, a family of inspired podcasts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Enabling Motion, the podcast where we bring you the inspiring technology that keeps people moving. I'm Sibel Mufti, and today I'm talking about a device called an exomuscle that's helping people lift their arms above their shoulders.
Hi everybody, Marc here. Today I'm going to be talking about a robotic finger wrapped in actual human cells.
Hi, and I'm Owen. I'm going to be talking about a collaboration between two companies aiming to reduce the amount of chronic shoulder pain in the construction industry. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really scared of the rise of the Terminators. I think that's a real threat that we have to worry about.
I'm starting to be more concerned every day.
Yeah, every day it seems we're getting closer.
So, this week's ads are paying for the Human Defense Initiative against Terminators.
All right, we'll be right back after these ads. Thanks for listening to those ads. So, the hand bone's connected to the shoulder bone, or something like that. Either way, shoulder mobility is pretty important for carrying out daily tasks. Our shoulder has the most range of motion out of any joint in our body, and allows us to orient our arms and hands in many useful ways. But what happens if your shoulder function is impaired? Many who suffer from things like spinal cord injuries, multiple sclerosis, or who've suffered from stroke may experience muscle weakness or dysfunction that impairs upper limb movement. Imagine a T-Rex trying to pick a flower. Our hands lose a lot of use if they can't be positioned strategically by our shoulders. So wouldn't it be great if there was some sort of assistive device that could help our shoulders to move and resist gravity? That's where the MyoShirt comes in. Designed by Marie Georgirakis out of ETH Zurich, this textile exomuscle can restore lost function to our shoulders.
I'm sorry to stop you there, Sibel, but what exactly is an exomuscle?
A great question, mate. So the authors define it as a soft wearable assistive robot working in parallel to the human muscles that counteract gravity. There are a new class of powered assistive devices that aim to overcome the issues of bulkiness and rigidity that many say make exoskeletons impractical. So in this case, the design is intentionally not biomimetic, meaning it's not copying the human biology. And that because that approach often leads to bulky and impeding designs. Instead, you have two cables described as tendons emerging from just above the shoulder to pull on specific points on the upper arm, to assist in the raising of the arms, and to control rotation as well. The design's really clever, and it only needs a single motor and can fit underneath a shirt. It assists with the user's motions in tension and doesn't overpower them, and the functional range of motion isn't limited at all by the MyoShirt. By detecting the user's motion, the device is able to function without external input from a supervisor, as many exomuscle devices have required. Furthermore, the MyoShirt was shown to be capable of carrying up to 70% of the weight of the user's arm. It actually can do 100%, but they found that 70% was sort of the perfect amount. In this study, 12 participants tested the exomuscle. One of them had a spinal cord injury and one had muscular dystrophy. Most users found it intuitive and only needed a little bit of training to use it. Ultimately, the MyoShirt provides an elegant form of robot-human synergy that can restore a crucial form of movement. Next steps are to test it outside the lab in natural environments. And I'm guessing they'll work on making it compact enough to be mobile, with a power and motor unit contained on the body itself.
Amazing. I love the subtlety of devices like this. And once they do get those battery packs and the motors tucked away nicely, I think this is going to be a super useful tool to be implemented.
Absolutely.
So thanks for that, Sibel. For this episode, I'm taking us into a petri dish of true science fiction, into a future where artificial limbs aren't only indistinguishable from organic limbs, but might actually be at least to some degree organic themselves. Now, I recently spoke about artificial skin that was made to provide users with pressure, temperature, and humidity information. But the similarity that it had to real human skin in terms of actual texture and feel is still pretty distant. But how do we create a prosthetic that feels just like the real thing? Well, one option is silicone. Current silicone sculpting can emulate the look of human skin to an eerily close resemblance, and the feel isn't too far off either. Realistically, silicone replications are an amazing solution. One thing they cannot do, however, is regenerate. Now, this is where researchers from the University of Tokyo come in. They have devised a way to essentially wrap robotic components in lab-grown human skin. So before I explain their process, I'll quickly touch on some of the anatomy of human skin. Our skin is composed of 3 layers: the epidermis, or top protective layer, the dermis, or middle functional layer, and the hypodermis, or bottom cushioning layer. The layers that the researchers in Tokyo have focused on are the dermis and the epidermis. The team used collagen and human fibroblasts as an initial coating on a robotic finger. Collagen is a physiologically abundant, fibrous protein that contributes to the formation of connective tissue and gives strength to the dermis. Fibroblasts are a type of cell that are responsible for producing collagen within our skin, contributing to the structural makeup. The first layer is perfectly formed to the finger because the finger is placed in a petri dish and the cells are actually incubated with the finger suspended in the solution of connective tissue. After the first layer is attached, a second layer of keratinocytes seamlessly adhere to the undercoat. Keratinocytes make up a large proportion of the epidermis and act as a protective barrier, also contributing to our skin's impressive regeneration ability. With both these layers in place, the research team took a knife to the finger, leaving a little cut. And then they applied a small coating of collagen over the wound. Incredibly, the cells were able to regenerate and effectively heal the wound. The practical implementation of this technique will still need some things to be worked out, like how the cells would be able to be kept alive over longer periods of time. But I see this as the infancy of real human-robot hybrid technology, and I'm not sure whether to be fascinated or terrified. Now I'm going to throw it to some ads to pay for the defense against the inevitable Android invasion, and Owen will be right back afterwards, if there still is an Owen.
Wow, I can't believe I made it back to the year 2022. I wish I picked a better year. But enough about me. I'm here to tell you about a new technology that's aiming to help prevent chronic shoulder pain. Those of you who know me personally know that I've spent a lot of time in the construction industry. I've seen firsthand that overhead work can be incredibly tiring, and when you're tired, mistakes are bound to happen. So when I recently heard that Hilti had partnered with Autobot to develop an exoskeleton to help relieve the strain of overhead work on the body, I thought I had to talk about it on the podcast. The Hilti Exo-1 is a passive wearable exoskeleton that works to transfer the weight from your arms to your hips while doing overhead work. The device weighs a total of 4 pounds and attaches at the user's waist, shoulders, and just before the elbows on each arm. Independent studies and Autobot research have shown that this device can reduce the peak load on the muscles and relieves the shoulders by up to 47%. This is going to help prevent long-term health issues like chronic back and shoulder pain, and Hilti believes that this device can also improve productivity, allowing people to work for longer periods of time. You might have noticed that I mentioned that this was a passive exoskeleton system, which is different from the powered ones we've talked about previously. While a powered exoskeleton would use actuators or motors to provide support, a passive exoskeleton uses a series of purely mechanical devices to capture lost energy and repurpose it. This means that the Hilti XO1 does not need to be charged, can be more easily maintained than a powered exoskeleton with a complicated gearing system. The exoskeleton relies fully on a series of pulleys and cables, the tension of which can be adjusted to the user's personal preference. Unfortunately for Sibel, the exoskeleton is designed to fit users between 5'2" and 6'4".
Okay.
Is he tall or is he short? We don't know.
Who knows?
They'll have to check the
This is a
Instagram
podcast,
to
you'll
find
never know.
out.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's cheating. You can just go check the. Yeah, actually, that would be incentive. Find out if I'm making fun of him for being tall or short. I believe that we're going to see more devices like this in the future where I come from, not just in the construction industry, but every industry where extraneous physical activity is required. We should all be looking to prevent chronic injury wherever and whenever we can.
Thanks for nothing, Owen. Good job, guys. All right. Awesome stuff. Really love to talk about bioartificial stuff as well. I had a professor in college who used to grow bioartificial hearts on sort of these frames to study heart cells. So it's amazing to see. Although those pictures you shared with me, Marc, those are frankly quite creepy.
It's super creepy, I know.
It's super creepy, man.
Especially when they're like actually incubating in the petri dish and you see that just thick gelatinous layer of cell goop wrapped around, and the fact that it's actually alive. Oh,
I mean, but that is, that there's so much advantage. Like, was it iRobot where like Will Smith like hurts his artificial arm and then like sprays something on it to fix it?
yeah,
But like
that's right.
Yeah.
It's like a fake layer of skin he sprays on.
So maybe like I could.
So it would be literally
this. Like you could maybe like
this is from
iRobot. It's like collagen just sprayed on and it heals itself. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So what are we thinking in terms of our favorites today? I'm gonna let Owen go first so that he can be kept quiet for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I think that my favorite topic of today was Sibel's topic. I really thought that it was really interesting to hear about basically a different type of like exoskeleton and exomuscle instead. Like that is just super, super cool to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Marc, what about yours? What was your favorite?
I think yours is my favorite, Owen. I love anything that can counteract the fact that we're constantly just selling our physical ability in the workforce, and to prevent all the damage that is inevitably going to happen throughout that process, I think would be phenomenal. So,
right. I mean, you've also done a lot of construction stuff yourself too. Both of you guys have.
And I feel it,
Yeah, fair enough. Owen, could you give our listeners a little bit of background as to why Hilti? We've talked about Ottobock as being a huge prosthetics manufacturer in the world, but why is Hilti significant?
Oh, Hilti is a engineering and construction like tool supplier. So they sell like a lot of like power tools and other type of construction and engineering equipment. So they were seeing firsthand that people were suffering from chronic back and shoulder pain. So they looked to Ottobock to help them develop an exoskeleton for overhead work, which is some of like the most most tough work.
Gotcha. No, very cool. Yeah, that makes sense. A power tool company would definitely know what's going on. Personally, I think I also am really intrigued by obviously can't pick my own. We've established that so well with Marc. I think I'm going to have to go with the Hilti passive exoskeleton system. It's really cool to see a purely mechanical system being used. And it's exactly what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping we'll see more stuff like this, even in like jobs that require more standing, and we can just have sort of stuff where like a person can basically just like lean back and have sort of like a standing stool just built into something hidden inside like their overalls, for example.
True.
So yeah, amazing stuff, guys. Thank you to everyone for listening. If you have any thoughts or any ideas, please message us on Instagram at Enabling Motion Pod, where you can see whether Owen was making fun of me for being tall or short. Listen to us everywhere podcasts are found. And thank you to the Podpire Network for supporting this. We're very grateful to them. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Looking forward to chatting with you all soon. Take care.